Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Thank you for joining the Spiritist Talk series promoted by the United States Spiritist Federation every Saturday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. I'm very happy to be here to host this talk by YASCO ARACAVA, who will be leading our live with the theme, What Matters in the Discarnation Process? I would like to take a brief moment for some very exciting announcements. Next Saturday, September 30th, the United States Spiritist Federation is hosting the 17th U.S. Spiritist Symposium in Portland, Oregon. The symposium will focus on the topic of spiritual path to mental balance, with a full-day program including talks, panels, Q&A sessions, youth panel, kids, and youth activities. Make sure to join us either in person or virtually. The USSF will be broadcasting the whole symposium. Next, the North American Spiritist Educators Workshop 2023. The United States Spiritist Federation and the Canadian Spiritist Council are hosting the North American Spiritist Educators Workshop 2023 on October 13th through 15th. The event will be held on Zoom in Portuguese. The activities on Friday and Sunday will be translated into English and French. Registrations are open. Click on the link in the workshop. And next is a podcast-like series continuing Psychology and Spirituality, a Bridge to a Better Life, based on the works by Joanna J. Angelis. There is a new episode every Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. The Psychology and Spirituality weekly talks offer a safe space to confront, compare, correlate, and expand spirituality concepts from a psychological lens, bringing insights, actionable tips, and real-world advice to help you lead a better life. Subscribe to receive notifications of new episodes at the USSF YouTube channel. Note on the screen, there is a QR code. If you want to help the USSF produce more publications and promote Spiritism to everyone, please scan the QR code on screen for your donation. Now, back to YASCO ARACAVA. It is so welcoming to have you with us today.
Thank you.
Together with everyone who is watching this live broadcast now, I want to give you a very warm welcome as you discuss what matters in the discarnation process. Now, I'm sure you are all as eager as I am to hear from YASCO, but before she begins to enlighten us in the next hour, please allow me to formally introduce her. YASCO ARACAVA is a biomedical researcher in the field of neuropharmacology, recently retired from the University of Maryland School of Medicine, currently living in Santos, Brazil. She first engaged as a Spiritist as a member of the Spiritist Society of Baltimore, where she was involved in several activities, including children and youth activities, outreach programs, study groups, and giving lectures at the SSB and in other Spiritist organizations. Remaining connected to SSB and the U.S. Spiritist movement, now in Santos, she is an active member of Centro Espírita Chico Xavier, participating in lectures and study groups, including at the Spiritist Federation of Sao Paulo. And now I present YASCO ARACAVA.
Hi, friends. Thank you, Bradley, for this presentation. Thank you so much. I'm so happy, honored to be here with you, with the friends of the U.S. Federation and with the movement in United States, Spirits Movement. It's always really a pleasure to be engaged with you. So today, let me share. We're going to talk about this topic, about the discarnation process. It's a topic, death, discarnation is a subject That is a very difficult talk to bring to the table when we are okay, when we are having our routine life, to bring this subject to the table, especially in family, and to say, well, one day one of us goes first to the other side. We don't know who. How are we going to be prepared? Are we okay? What we going to do? Let's think about this. It's an awkward subject, right? So even to us spiritists that we have the knowledge about this subject, because of this work, a lot of work from Allan Kardec, Chico Xavier, with André Luiz series, with Divaldo Franco, especially those brought by Manuel Filomeno de Miranda, Sueli Caldas Schubert, Ivone do Amaral Pereira, all through different benefactors, spirits benefactors. They bring quite detailed description of how to discarnate, how is the incarnation process and the discarnation process, and how we feel just after the passage, or the days or the period after that. Because we are all kind of having our mind these old notions that the church, especially the Catholic Church, gave it to us throughout all these 1,000 years. These notions that there is hell and there is heaven, eternal one. There is nothing that could give us the certainty that we can do something to better off, to make it better, all this passage, the life after life, while we are here. Is whatever we do during the incarnation will reflect on the process beyond the life, beyond this incarnated life. So the Spiritist gives us a lot of knowledge, and better than that, the consolation, the true understanding of what we can do while here in the physical body. So the work is this presentation is based in case of this book, Workers of the Life Eternal. And but before that, let's bring some definition about what is to die and what is to discarnate, because those are two separate incidents, and sometimes happens in different timing. So to die is to, what we all know, to stop living. Our vital functions are extinguished, and we say, well, the person passed away, died. No, the heart is not pumping anymore. The electrical lines in the cerebral line is stopping, is straight line, etc. There is a lot of ways that the modern medicine, a protocol well established to say, yes, this is considered death, clinical death. But to discarnate is another issue, is to leave the flesh. When the spirit leave the corporeal physical body and pass to the spirit world. It's different. So what happened is that Kardec says, as an incarnate, this is in the introduction. The introduction of the Spirit's book is a very compiled report or description that Kardec gives about all the issues that comes in the Spirit's book. So in this item 6, he says, the incarnated humans are composed with 3 things: the physical body or the material being, which is similar to what the animals and all the animated beings have. And it is fed by the vital principle. Once the vital principle does extinguish, the material body cannot any longer be functional. We have the soul, we call soul when it is not spirit. That's the definition of Kardec. We call soul when we are in the incarnated state. It's the immaterial being. We call soul and we call spirit when we discarnate. But between these two, to make the link between the physical body and the spirit, we have the spiritual body or perispirit, which is the intermediary principle that links united the soul with the body. So if you see here in this diagram, so the soul is the incarnate spirit. You see the layer that is both has this very dark blue, which is we call soul, or in the discarnate we call spirit. Then we have the perispirit, both have perispirit, the incarnate and the discarnate. And then you have the different thing is the vital fluid and the physical body is these 2 layers, 2 principles that we have in the incarnate state, spirit. When we discarnate, because the vital fluid is extinguishing due to the abuse of the physical body, physical organs, some intoxication, some not caring about the diet, sleep, exercise, etc. The vital fluid can be consumed before the time or up to the time that was granted to us before we came here. Nevertheless, when the vital fluid is extinguishing, the physical body also start to derail, the organs stop working. So then you stay with the perispirit and the spirit and the soul, which is the discarnated spirit. So the discarnated spirit always are covered in has this envelope of perispirit. So the death is written here, destroys only the denser envelope, which is the physical body, while the spirit retains the perispirit, which comprises the ethereal body. It is the ethereal body. Perispirit still is a semi-material nature. So it's invisible to us in normal state, but the spirit can render it visible or even tangible. You can touch the discarnate spirit when occurs during the phenomena of apparitions or materialization. So, but usually the spirit, the discarnate spirit, is not visible to the majority of us because our vision is not in the range of our visual, wavelength. Discarnation is, when you say discarnated, is the complete separation of the ties that unite the perispirit to the physical body. Remember, when we incarnate, the spirit starts to bind to the forming physical body molecule by molecule through the perispirit. Now is the opposite. You start to untie, to disrupt these ties up to the point that the discarnation is complete. There is no tie. The last, if you see the top figure, which you see to the right, which you see the spirit with the silver cord, we can have this state while we are sleeping during our sleep time, when we have emancipation. But when we die, that silver cord is disrupted. Once it's completely disrupted, there is no way to return to the physical body. So in the Bible, you have cases of apparent death, which we call, resurrection, that some says was a miracle performed by Jesus. No. Those three cases, we all know Lazarus from Bethany, that was already 3 days inside the tomb, but Jesus brought to life. Jairus' daughter also was considered dead by the people that were in that village surrounding their house. And the son of widow of Nain, where was already a funeral going when Jesus resurrected, in quote unquote. Those three cases, the silver cord was not disrupted. Jesus saw that discarnation was not completed, and he, with his power, he could instill some vital fluid and recompose some of the organs completely or partially for a while, because all of those that he brought to life, they all died. So it's for a while they could, because of the merit of the persons or Jesus' power, they could come back and stay a little longer in the corporeal body. In the Spirit's book, so we have, of course, all these questions. Kardec and his co-workers, all these people that were there in that time, have the same questions we have today. You know, this is more than 150 years, but at that time, and even before, they asked all these questions. That's why when Kardec started to codify, they brought like 50 notebooks done by other people previously, and he had to organize and make as a book that could be understanding, could be more organized. So in question 68, he asked, what causes the death of organic beings? We are organic beings, animated organic beings. They say, well, their organs were out. In question A, could we compare death to sensation of movement in a machine that has broken down? Just to compare with something that is tangible for us human beings. Say yes. If the machine has been badly assembled, it breaks down. So if our organs are not well prepared or well taken care, it will start to have problems, which we call disease, disorder, etc. Likewise, if the body becomes diseased, life leaves it. So while you have these organs working by the installation of the vital fluid, we are life. Once this doesn't work anymore, the heart start to stop, the breathing start to have problem, respiration, the brain start not to function, the kidney fails, the circulation of the blood stops because there is no energy for the heart pump to pump forward, we stop and we say, by the clinical point of view, we say we died, you know. In question 155, how does the separation of the soul from the body occur? How the soul, the spirit that was enclosed there, leaves the body. Once the bonds that held the soul are ruptured, it disengages itself. So the spirit doesn't stay any longer tied, bound to a dead body, an unfunctional physical body. It goes out with its perispirit. Does this separation occur instantly or through an abrupt transition? Is there a well-defined dividing line between life and death? This is an issue that we all are worried about, right? We always think, oh my God, I'm going to be a space in time that I'm lost in this darkness, that I don't belong to this side, I don't belong to the other side. What happened to me? So we all fear about this stage of transition. He says, no, it doesn't help abruptly. The soul liberates itself gradually. So the sickness, the disease, it's those chronic diseases, is already during these organs that start to be dysfunctional. The tie start to break. So the soul start to be a little bit freer from the physical body, etc. It does not escape like a captive bird that is suddenly set free. No, there is nothing like that. These two states touch and blend with each other. So the discarnate and the incarnate, there is a time that is still blended. This way, the spirit disengages itself little by little from its bonds. They unravel, they do not break. That's a good thing, because we feel what suddenly happens. I may feel like falling in a vacuum suddenly, you know, when the gravity disappears, you know, you feel in some kind of a dream that you suddenly drop your body, you feel scared. No, it goes slowly, and by the time you start to see the ones that deceased, that went to the spiritual world before us, they come, we emancipate ourselves much more often when you are in this chronic disease, you know, which is the preparation for the final rupture of the silver cord. So in this book, Heaven and Hell, now we're going to see how to prepare ourselves to have a nice disengagement, nice transition. In this book, Heaven and Hell, Divine Justice According to Spiritism, in the part 2, Kardec brings quite a number of examples of spirits that have discarnated. Of course, there's more than those that are present here, but he chose those to illustrate how to prepare ourselves. That is not by chance that some spirit says, I'm happy here, my discarnation was easy, the process was very harmonious. There is average spirit that feels okay, like most of us probably will feel, but there are some that are suffering spirits. They can't understand, and they see that they're still with the body, all those things. The suicidals are worse because there is still a lot of vital fluid that they cut too precociously before the time, and repentant criminals, hardened spirits that says, I'm okay, I'm not like this, I will continue to be a bad, I don't see anything bad on that. And those that are in earthly expiation. So this book is very nice for us to see why are those categories of spirits, how they feel just after discarnation. So in this part 2, chapter 1, before they start to describe these spirits, the condition of these spirits, there is a chapter called The Passage, which is Kardec says a lot, describes about this transition between the corporeal life, corporeal being, to the spiritual being, from the incarnate to the discarnate. So there is long, so I chose to put something in of what is in item 4. He says, the extinction of organic life produces a separation of the soul from the body by breaking the fluid connection that links them together. However, this process never occurs abruptly. So it's just what we read in the Spirit's book, the questions in the Spirit's book. The painful sensation that the soul experiences at that moment of this, that is untying, in that moment results directly from the number of points of contact between the body and perispirit, and this in turn determines the greater or lesser difficulties or slowness of the separation. So what he says is that when you still have a lot of ties between the soul and the perispirit, the soul and the physical body, it's because you still have a lot of vital fluid that are animating the physical body. So that means I didn't go to the end to use the whole time that was given to me, for this present incarnation. So because the discarnation can happen if you still have this tie, you have to untie all, but you have the vital fluid feeding this. So that's why it can be very slow for those that commit suicide or in some kind of accident, but that still has a lot of vital fluid left. In the item 8, which gives some consolation, so he says it's difficult if you still have a lot of points, it's slower, but in item 8, he says the principal cause behind the greater or lesser difficulties of disengagement is the soul moral state. But that is, I can take care of that, right? My moral state depends on me, on my behavior, on my action. So it's up to me if I make it greater or lesser difficulty in the disengagement during this discarnation. The affinity between the body and the perispirit is proportional to the attachment between the spirit and the matter. Look, this information is very important. So it's easy now because I know, wow, if I have too much affinity, worries, and my temptations for matter, for the goodness that is related to material goods, well, at that moment of passage, this thing doesn't matter at all. My titles, my power, my big house, my cars, whatever, it doesn't matter in that moment of the passage to the other side. So why be so much putting our attention to that during our incarnation and not prepare ourselves to detach from the matter, but to be less attached to the matter, because we have to be attached to the matter in order to take care of my body, in order to because of the layer of preservation, conservation, etc. I have to take care of my body. That is also my duty, but to the correct extension. Not forget about taking care about my spirit, my moral status of a spirit, and the notion that I am an immortal spirit that will live to the infinite after I don't have the physical body. So he says the affinity between the body and the perispirit is proportional to the attachment between the spirit and matter, which is most pronounced in individuals whose preoccupations exclusively and solely involve the material pleasures that life offers. It's important, exclusively and solely. So that means I have to be worried about my physical body. On the other hand, impure souls who identify themselves with the spirit life beforehand, such attachment is almost non-existent. And since the slowness and difficulty of disengagement are a result of the soul's degree of purity and dematerialization, it depends on us to render the disengagement easy or difficult, pleasant or painful. Very consoling and very straightforward, teachings, tips to how we should conduct our life while we're here. So after that, it's nothing like, as is in the Kardec's Spirit's book, in this Heaven and Hell, nothing like eternal paradise, hell, or purgatory that the old church passed to us. You know, they put later this purgatory because it was difficult. Well, you go to paradise and stay eternally there. You go to hell, you know, but there is no way to fix it. So the church put this purgatory, but still is not honorable destiny. You know, you stay there for a while and then they will decide if I can go to hell or can ascend to paradise. So if you want, I didn't bring here, but in this book, Workers of the Eternal Life, in the preface by Emmanuel is fantastic, because he says how irrational is to think a father or mother can stay enjoying eternal paradise when she or he sees the loved ones in hell, burning in hell, eternal hell. Doesn't make sense. So Kardec asks about what is your sensation? There is nothing like you jump to here, to go to there, there is a cross road. No, nothing is. But it's you with you. What is the sensation that the soul experiences at the moment it realizes that it is in the spiritual world? It's a place, it's a condition, it's a state of mind. So he says, so talking about sensation, that depends, he says. Once I'm there, it depends. If it has done evil for the love of it, the spirit is at first ashamed. So, I'm bad, but I love to be a bad. That crime that I commit, well, I have my rights. It was okay. I actually even enjoy it to put that guy down. All those sentiments. A person that has no, So in this case, the spirit is at first ashamed of what it has done. However, it experienced something completely different if it has been morally upright. It feels relieved of a great weight because it does not fear the most scrutinizing glance. So, among those bad spirits, if we commit something bad, there is two categories: those that don't see anything wrong, and those that said, "Oh my God, that was bad." So some kind of a shame, guilt starts to enter in their mind. That's the one that can be rescued more quickly by a good advice, by going to some courses in the spiritual world, but they can hear the advice of the loved ones or the benefactors that come. The other ones cannot even hear. They don't see because they are okay, and they start even to develop some groups there, some gangs there, because they want to keep doing what they did in the here on earth, to have the same gang in the spiritual world. So those are going to stay sometimes centuries in that situation. In question 164, do all spirits experience the confusion that follows the separation of the soul and the body to the same degree or for the same amount of time? So this confusion, am I here, am I not, what I'm doing here, where are my loved ones, it is how excruciating or how okay is, how I'm okay with this, or how long this will last. So the Spirit says, no, not all have spent the same time, feel the same thing. No, it depends on how evolved they are. Those who are already purified are almost immediately self-aware because of their detachment from matter during corporeal life. So they start to detach slowly during the sickness, the disease, and because they're so spiritualized that they emancipate very often, and they already are prepared in the spiritual world. However, carnal individuals, those that are attached to the flesh, with impure conscience, retain the impression of matter much longer. 165. Does an understanding of spiritism have an influence on the shorter or longer duration of this confusion? And this says, well, now it's talking to us, because let's see if we as spiritists, we have some much better off situation. It has a very considerable influence because the spirit understood what its situation would be beforehand. So it's good to know, but we're going to see in the case that I'm going to present that is not enough to know. The practice now is the important thing. The practice of good and purity of conscience exerts the most influence, however. So it's to be good. So it's not, I'm a spirit, so I'm okay. No, you may not. You may be worse than the ones that never said that was a spirit, never even believed it was an immortal spirit, but was a good person who did all the goodness to others, volunteer, and have all the goodness in heart. So Kardec comments after this question. At the moment of death, everything appears confused at first. It feels dazed, like someone waking out of a deep sleep, who tries to understand the situation. The lucidity of its ideas and the memory of its past return as the influence of the matter from which it has just freed itself is extinguished, and the sort of fog that had obscured its thought is dissipated. So we still is sensing our brain, the physical organs all this life that I lived and just stop now? So there is a question, confusion. But as soon as you are spiritualized, the lucidity comes, and of course all the helpers are there, so it's clear up the thoughts. The duration of this state of confusion following death varies greatly. It may last a few hours, several months, or even years. Can you believe? Stay in this confusion of not knowing where I am, be upset that nobody's responding to me. This confusion depends on the character of the individual and especially depends on the type of death involved. In violent death, suicide, capital punishment, accident, stroke, mortal wounds, etc., the spirit is surprised and astonished. It stubbornly persists in asserting that it has not died. Well, how many we that works in the mediumistic meeting, we see all these spirits come. Most of them are in this state. Oh, I don't know why I'm here. Why my people in my family are not responding to me? What kind of place is this? So they most of them are in this state. Moreover, and we cannot say, "Oh, you're dead," because then it's a big shock. We have to let the spirit realize he's in a different state. Moreover, it sees its body lying there and does not understand that it is now separate. It seeks out loved ones and speaks to them, but cannot understand why they cannot hear it. This illusion lasts until the separation of the perispirits from the physical body is complete, and only then does it realize its situation and it understands that it is no longer part of the world of the living. There is nothing painful about the state of confusion following death for moral individuals. They are calm, and their perceptions are those of a peaceful awakening. However, for those whose conscience is not pure, it is full of anxiety and anguish, which intensifies as it regains self-awareness. So we see a great example of great guys like Bezerra de Menezes, Chico Xavier, we see all these examples that how Kardec, how easy it was, even immediately they figured out that they were in the other state and wanted to bring some consolation to the ones that remained here. But we are in this average state, so we have a lot to take care of it. So, spiritual company, as soon as we are discarnate, of course, we know why we are incarnate. We have a spiritual company. We are surrounded. But here we say, wow, I cannot see, I cannot hear, I'm okay. The mediums or sensitive mediums will sense much more the weight, and we see more lightly. But when we go to the other side, our awareness is increased, and we are kind of the mercy of the people that the spirits are there. So it's important to know what kind of company are around me. What can I do to have the good ones and not the bad ones? So during discarnation, we are never alone. We may not even see here, but we're never alone. But the type of company varies and can be categorized into two main groups. The first is made of spiritual benefactors, and the spirits specialize in the process that lead to discarnation. Imagine that a spiritual team that are expert in the discarnation process. That's what we're going to see. There are also family members and dear friends already discarnate who remain there, waiting or helping the final disconnection process. and they are cheering for us. The second group comprises of malevolent, vengeful spirits attracted or linked to discarnating soul who did not know how to form friendships, who led an existence marked by bad actions. So comes all the victims to ask for, to the payment of the debt, that the crimes that pass without noticing through the human justice, but not the divine justice. The spiritual aid. In any case, doesn't matter bad or good that we were, there are always spiritual benefactors who, as volunteers, help the discarnating person, even if he or she does not have great merits. Specialized cooperative members unite efforts to disconnect the immortal spirit from the terrestrial physical apparatus. Martin Speraldo, in this book, Study Mediumship, has this little sentence there, which is very consoling, right? So let's go to illustrate some case here. André Luiz was very important for us, spiritists, to bring us the notion, details about how is the life in the spiritual world. He has all those 13 books, which comprises this series. Very important ones start from Now Solar and finishing with And the Life Goes On. And we see that during this writing and sending these books to Chico Xavier and Valdo Vieira, André Luiz, evolved a lot from the condition he describes himself in Now Solar to this And the Life Goes On. So we can evolve in the spiritual realm. So in these Workers of the Life Eternal was published in 1946, and there is this team of a Discarnation spiritual team, and they are stationed in this transitory mobile house of Fabiano. And this team is composed by the instructor, Geronimo, the clairvoyant nurse, Luciana, Father Hipólito, and André Luiz, who is our reporter. So André Luiz. So, in the company of instructor Geronimo, the clairvoyant nurse, Luciana, and Father Hipólito, André Luiz descends from the transitory house of Fabiano to the planet crust. So they are usually in the No Solar, but there is this mobile transitory house to rescue the spirits that is just coming from the crust before they go to the No Solar or the other spiritual house. So what is the mission? To attend in the next 30 days, 5 dedicated collaborators of No Solar, Dimas, Fábio, Albina, Cavalcante, and Adelaide. So they are incarnated, and during incarnation, they are collaborators of No Solar because of their mediumship abilities. They and their goodness to help, they are asked to work with the spiritual team in No Solar. So because of this engagement of these people to this group, the spiritual group, they were granted a special treatment during their discarnation because they have merit. And also, André Luiz said that in this mission, first mission, Also, it serves as a study for the assisting group, like especially under Luis that makes all the questioning, and it's good for us because he brings us, all the information. Let's see the time. Okay, so the demon's discarnation, he is the most troublesome one. So it serves as an alert because as a spiritist, saying that is knowing is then just provide the system, which is a very big part of us as a spiritists, is not enough to ensure a good, peaceful discarnation. That in addition to our individual preparation, we must also prepare, evangelize our family and friends, take care of the spiritual environment of our home, to daily work on our material and emotional detachment. This case is a reminder that we are constantly accompanied by many discarnate spirits in various moral conditions. Various moral conditions, from the lower to the medium to the high, emitting their thoughts, their vibration, affecting us during the discarnating process that may last beyond the funerals. So who was Demas? Why it concerns us spirits? He was a good spiritist, an assiduous, faithful collaboration of the spiritual colony, very good mediums with great abilities, humble servant in both planes. In the spirit center here, he was a good servant doing all the humble activities. And the spiritual plane also, he got the love of many companions there. And the ones that were assisted by him were very grateful to him. So nothing wrong with Demas. Of course, for that, he deserved a help from the spiritual team during his discarnation. He wasn't a completist. This word is to have your incarnation complete, using all the energy given to you, all the vital fluid given to you, using very well, not abuse of these organs, etc. He wasn't. So why is he deserve such a special help? Because in the mind of André Luiz, wow, I also was not a completist. I didn't complete, and I suffered 8 years in the mud. I didn't see any help during those. How he that did not use well, he was disconnected before the time, is deserving this special help. He was kind of, what kind of, injustice is this? Was he a passive suicidal like André Luiz? No. So Geronimo said, no, I don't know your past life, André Luiz. I'm sure you did your best, but no, Dimas has had a very harsh life since childhood. He didn't have education, the job was very difficult, demand a lot of physical stress. And while he was not prepared by education, and also while he was engaging in helping those suffering spirits, he could not stay far from this. He was all involved in their suffering. It's like a medical doctor, a nurse that goes home with all these problems, and they start to be sick by treating the sick people in the hospital. So he was not well prepared to treat the other ones. His liver, his heart, got affected by this stress that he felt. So we ask if he was not his fault that he was discarnating before. He was a good collaborator, good person, good at. So what's the problem with his difficulties? And he had a great difficulty to discarnate. Here in the figure, you have the medical, to the left, you have the physical medical doctor, his wife, the 2 kids, the other side, the André Luiz and Jerônimo, and the mother with him there while in the discarnation process. And so why is the problem? His emotion was uncontrolled. He had a strong psychological distress during this discarnation, closer to the time to his death. Worries about the future of his life after he's gone. He had this emotional attachment, and that made the family also get too much attached to him. So it was both ways. So that is a very difficult thing. We all know when the family stays there, stay longer, the person cannot discarnate. So sometimes, like Geronimo did, he applied magnetic passes to Dimas for him to have a transient improvement. So to move away the family, the weeping wife. So say, well, now he's good, go to home or whatever to rest. So he had to do this, otherwise he could not perform the discarnation. So as soon as the family went away, he started the discarnation process, which is a gradual disruption. He described very well there, André Luiz, all the lights, all the colors, etc. When the perispiritual ties are breaking down in true centers, the vegetative, which is around the digestive system, the emotional, which is near the heart, and the mental, which is the last one. And thankfully, he could achieve the coma of Dimas before the disturbing entry of the family again to the room. However, it's interesting, this part. Although clinically he was considered dead, the physical doctor said he's dead, but was an incomplete discarnation. That silver cord was still attached. Why Geronimo did not disrupt that part? Because he said Dimas is so unrest emotionally that he is not able to face his new state, the spirit as a free spirit. So let's maintain a little bit, him for the next morning, and in the arms of his mother. His mother stay up to the next day with him. So he's dead, but not completely discarnated. So then there is a funeral at home that time because everybody said he's dead. So that's how he calls attention that how much we can harm the ones that are there that you consider dead, but it's not. So this emotional crying of the wife, the family going to his body on the top, that made the spirit, Dimas' spirit, to be unrest, suffered. Plus, someone that went to there, someone from the city, started to recall a crime that Dimas had eyewitness, but he kept in secret. So in details. So Dimas started to really start to suffer because now he started all this memory of that time that he witnessed the assassination of the person came to this to his mind, and of course he suffered. And this conversation also attract who? The assassin, the criminal that made Dimas be quiet. Now he's attracted by this energy of remembrance, and he comes and he sees Dimas dead there. He says, "Oh, you also are dead, but please pardon me that I made you. I'm so sorry." And he started to make all this disturbing scenery there because now he is he is feeling shame for his crime, and he's lost there as a spirit that is remember about his crime. So we have to take care about what type of conversation we bring to the funeral, or in overall other situations, but especially there, because there the person, the spirit may not be even discarnated. He can sense much more. So the question is, how this disturbing assassin could enter there as a spirit? Oh, because his home, Dima's home, lacked of spiritual protection. So the family, Dimas did not train for the family to protect their homes of this invasion of undesired spirits. So he did not put routinely the practice of the gospel at home, the prayer, etc. We're going to see later the one that made all this preparation. And also Andrea Luiz, finally after Discarnation, there is this, in the cemetery, Andrea Luiz noticed that there's a lot of vampires, spirits, vampires, because there's a lot of vital fluid, so they come to vampirize, to suck some of this vital fluid. But with Dimas, because there were many other spiritual team, it was there, the guy said, well, here, this one we cannot touch, but there are other ones. So Geronimo did in other graveyard, he starts to do the magnetic passes to remove, even from Dimas, all the remaining fluid, so to put away the vampire spirits. So just to be careful, the prayer has to be all up to the end, the back home, etc. So let's see a good discarnation. It's Fabio's discarnation. So Fabio's had a tranquil discarnation. Let's see the time. Oh, I'm finishing. He was not an ostensive medium, but he was very spiritualized, great best giver and collaborator of spiritual colony. His family, wife, and 2 children was committed to gospel at home, like I said, routine and knowledgeable about the life after death. Family business and their future life after his death were well discussed. No material or emotional attachment. His liberation from the corporeal garment was predicted to be pleasant and natural as he persevered in the good. He didn't need any help from the spiritual team due to his long nurtured faith and preparation while incarnate. So he truly absorbed the knowledge and practice. So where this, just a summary, where the summary, the sufferings to discarnate comes from. First, moral status of the discarnate soul, ignorance and unpreparedness regarding man's spiritual nature and its immortality, lack of evangelization. We have to prepare ourselves about our spiritual nature and immortality. Attachment to the physical body or material in general, too much. Attachment to family members or family members to the discarnated spirits, both ways, emotional attachment. This is the most difficult one. Amount of remaining fluid, vital fluid, strong points of contact between the body and the perispirit, which happens in unconscious and voluntary suicides. Nevertheless, we always receive spiritual help in discarnation despite the mistakes we make. That's God's mercy. Thank you so much for your attention. think you have your sound off. Okay.
My apologies. Thank you, YASCO, for the reflections you provided. And we are now open for questions and comments from the audience. From Paul Jacoby, as a pretty average apprentice, is there a chance I will see my loved ones after disincarnating? What if my spiritual family is in the US and Brazil? Can I see all of them?
Well, thank you so much, Paul. For us, when we are a free spirit, it doesn't matter the geography, right? It doesn't matter at all. It's our mental state, our inner self that matters. If the level of our vibration that will dictate if I'm able to sense. We see or hear, but it's see or hear from not by these physical eyes or hear, but without all spiritual body, and the whole is a mental vision. The whole spirit can sense it. You cannot say it's here or there. So it doesn't matter if it's in the US, if it's in Brazil, the other side. No, they are all in this dimension that is a whole, is whole. So for me, of course, there is a lot of mercy, even though I don't deserve completely to engage with my family, but I can have a little glimpse. Oh, I sense my mother, my grandmother is here. I see that I am in some harmonious, nice place, something like that. So we say it's not completely clear, not sometimes for a long time, it's just for a while, because it's granted to us by the mercy of God through their benefactors that help to bring our loved ones close to us. But for sure, we are average, but a good apprentice. We are. So don't worry about, because when we say those that are lost, it's because they are so stubborn. They don't want themselves to see it. They say, I'm going to continue to be like this, and I am happy to this, and don't come to tell me otherwise. No, for us, my God, we are so open, permeable. We are permeable to all this good vibration that is coming. So if, of course, for the bad ones, that vibration, we shut down by our prayer, by our mental state towards goodness. So we all see as much as we are allowed. Yes, because they know better than us, right?
Okay. Thank you very much for that. And from Annie Alves, what happens when the silver cord is not ruptured and we perform the funeral or even cremation? Is there a way to know our loved one is completely detached?
Well, this is a question, very good question that is in other books. So that's why we, in average, is immediately, minutes, hours, days. So in the spirit, I think in the consoler, they say 72 hours you wait for this cremation. However, if we say, well, we don't know, but nothing that goes beyond without God noticing, getting the will of the loved ones around. So we can pray for the ones that are there. Let them go. Don't keep them with us. Because what keeps the discarnation difficult? When we attract and we don't want to release them from our company here in the earthly environment, our family, our home, So we say, let it go. You can go now. You can go now. So usually, even some clinical, you not consider that because they keep some signs in order for clinical signs in order for the family to say, I know it's getting for the time for you. You go. We're gonna be okay here. We're going to pray for you, and then you, if when you have time, when they give the opportunity, when you prepared, you can give us directly or indirectly notice news about you, some other thing that will help us. So 72 hours is pretty good one, and we should always pray and for their easy discarnation.
Okay. Good insights. Thank you. From the U.S. Spiritist Federation, how is it decided which spirit colony we will go to?
Yeah, there are more spiritual colonies than we imagine. We know Nossolar, so we tend to think it's only one above Rio de Janeiro that was founded by the Portuguese because before they came was only the native Indians here. They had a different kind of a discarnation, the spirituality and the spiritual colony. Then we learn also about Sao Paulo. We have also about New York. You have another one. I feel we have a lot of them. Plus, we have all those transitory mobile home, which all the spiritual team would work to rescue also, to be the station to rescue some spirits that are long time there, like André Luiz. So this team of Mary of Nazareth that goes after the former suicide. So there's a lot of spiritual quality, but for sure the law of affinity, it will work. Is the vibrational attraction. And in the vibrational attraction also, after we are settled there, we are in the situation to help others. Of course, how much we can engage with the other team. Sometimes we are in one team, we'll go to another colony, another transitory home like André Luiz and all Geronimo go to different places, because of the work that we start to engage. So it's all kind of affinity for the goodness, for the good work. More I put myself to help others, I'm helping myself. I am morally ascending. That makes me a better helper and to be better engaged. In the end, it doesn't matter because as I start to be more evolved, I will find that one that I felt was a strange person, strange, is not any longer. They're all one family. So we feel good in any place we are because we feel they're all brothers and sisters. So it's different when you are confined with a certain type. Well, I like only those that like to eat food, eat meat, beef. If they don't allow. So they still have this notion that I need to have heavy food. So those are going to be separate from the ones that are more understanding that you don't need those heavy food any longer. So they are more spiritualized. So, but there is all the transition, slow transition between all these states, and all depends on our mental state, our behavior, our thoughts, which is the driving force, is not any longer hands or is the thought, the quality of our thought and vibration. So mental, the ideas, the quality, and the emotional, what this thought is, what emotion is behind those thoughts.
Very good. So we have from Leonardo Vieira. Joanna de Angelis invites us to think about death not in a morbid way, but to approach with a good heart. What would be a couple of practical ways for us to contemplate death in the physical body?
Well, like these two examples, there's one more example in these 5 that they are helping. The other one that had a very easy discarnation beside Fabio was Adelaide, and they are all very spiritualized and more than that, evangelized. So they truly understand the teachings of the gospel of Jesus, whatever other prophets they have. They understand all these teachings. But if you see Demas, we know already what we shouldn't do or we lack to do. So it's to take care about our family, not too much emotional attachment. These are very difficult attachment. It's more the material attachment. The emotional attachment between a mother that cannot let go the child to go to free, to go to another state, to go to college, imagine when it dies before very young age. So that thing is very is very deep. So it's the unpreparedness that we're going to die, and we have to do what to die and discarnate well is to do during incarnation. There is too late. It has to be done here. So about myself, prepare myself, I prepare my family. And also me not attached to my family not attached too much to me. So let it go. Now you are a spirit. I cannot do for you. Is your life, is your evolution, more evolution. I could help you, but I cannot do for you. You have to do yourself. That's what happened to us. So I think the study of especially we are lucky because the Spiritist brings a lot of opportunity. If you get one of those books, you have opportunity during the study group or during the gospel to touch this issue. Now, it doesn't need to be when you are having dinner or lunch, in a picnic. No, you have to set a time. In the gospel at home is a good routine. So you bring to see, to cut some excesses, which is not good. To think about things that we are not thinking about, which is should be. So all these things we should to practice, but in a everyday. So Fabio had a good discarnation because he had all the good things that Dimas didn't have. He took care about his kids were very young. He died of tuberculosis in a young age, but he prepared his in a nice way, not in a morbid way. No, and because tuberculosis, he stayed with tuberculosis for a long time. So he knows at that time there was no medication. It was a tough disease. So, of course, as he was getting sicker, he passed the family business to the wife. He showed her all the notation, fiscal, all the administrative things. He prepared his kids to take care, to help his mother, except because he was so sick. So God gives this long-term disease, which is very good, for you to be prepared, So I may even I asked in the other presentation, if you could choose, you would choose to die, to have a sudden death without, warning, or by organic failure, or by, other ways, or a long-lasting disease, old age, while you see your vital forces, vital organ fading away slowly. Which of the two extreme situation you would choose if it was knowing that death and discarnation is not the same? We used to say, oh, I want to die of heart attack while I'm sleeping. Are you sure? Are you prepared to suddenly be put in the other side? Because you had all the vital fluids. Even if it was a heart attack, a stroke, So when you have something that lingering around with some stroke consequence, we have to be very thankful. It is time for us to mend ourselves or to prepare. And many people took advantage of these illnesses, paralysis, whatever, to be more spiritualized, evangelized, in order to have a better passage to other side. So disease, illness is a blessing. We should be more thankful for these opportunities, opportunity to learn, opportunity to teach, be the example for our family, how we deal with this situation, it's sad. But, while we're not there, it's easy to say. But, we have great examples of this, even within family, how they were great in dealing with this.
Thank you very, very much, YASCO. And thanks to everyone who watched today's Talk Live, and those who have been following our weekly Spiritist Talk series. Next Saturday, September 30th, we will not have our regular live, but instead we will broadcast the 17th U.S. Spiritist Symposium. Keep watch for the links that will be posted a few days prior to the event. YASCO, before we close the live, would you please say a prayer?
Yes, certainly. It's an honor. So let's calm our mind, our thoughts. Let's immerse in a good, emotional, harmonious state, letting go of the problems, issues relate to the material life. For this moment, to elevate first our gratitude for our Celestial Father, for have granted me this body to make me an immortal being with infinite opportunities to evolve among the ones that we already love, but the ones that we still have to learn to love. A precious opportunity to recognize our faults and to develop our virtues and to decrease and eliminate slowly our bad habits, especially those related to pride, selfishness, and to substitute by generosity, fraternity, compassion. For that, dear Father, we are so thankful to be born in the time when the information, especially brought by the Spiritism, and by the spiritual benefactors to help us go more easily throughout our trials and expiations. Please help those that are in need more than us, need of physical strength, need of emotional support, need to be noticed by others, and also help them to trust God, to trust the teachings of Jesus, to trust all the helpers that are around, incarnate and discarnate. I thank you so much for the opportunity for this engagement with the friends in the U.S. Federation and in the other groups. Thank you so much.